Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Insightful Moments. My name is Jare Tiamiyu. Today we'll be changing gear and we'll be talking about something that is very important, something that has to do with leadership development at whatever level, maybe grassroots level, at the national stage, subnational stage, and whatever level that you can talk about. And young persons must, must be taught on how leadership works. Young persons must understand what exactly is the leadership and what they need to learn from the stage, like primary school stages, secondary school stage, and then tertiary institution where we have young people are dominating that sector. And today we'll be looking into a project that has been ongoing in Osun State, and it's not just an Osun project; it's a global project also being implemented in Osun State here. We'll be talking about iLead, and today I have the state director of iLead project in Osun, Mr. Daniel Ibikitan. Mr. Daniel, it's nice having you in our studio.
Thank you. Good. It's nice to be here.
Let me start from this angle before we go into the project. What exactly do you think is the major challenge that we have, especially when it comes to young persons holding leadership positions?
Okay, thank you so much for this privilege. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Daniel once again. So to the question that you asked, leadership is a fundamental thing that my mentor John Maxwell says that everything rises and falls on leadership. Yes, so if any nation is getting better, it's tied to leadership. And now it's not just the leadership, positional leadership, is the leadership where everyone is geared to influencing others. So now from your question you just asked now, what is the challenge with leadership among young people that found themselves in leadership in especially Nigeria and Osun in particular? Now, leadership is not just position, because most people, they think when they get a position, that's when they start leading. No, positional leadership is the least form of leadership. Yes. Now, if you've read the book by the great writer John C. Maxwell, he wrote about 360 degrees leadership, where he talked about 5 stages of leadership. I will not bore with that, but he talked about positional leadership being the least form of leadership. How that so many people don't commit to developing leadership values and skill until they get to leadership position. So when they get to that leadership position, it destabilizes them, and they tend to become confused or don't know what to do when they get to that position. And the thing is, most people, when they get to that position, positional leadership, they don't have any vision, because the primary thing that must drive a leader is the vision. Vision of what am I doing, where am I going to, and where am I taking people to. So leadership is not just position. You must begin to exercise some level of leadership values and skill even before you get to the leadership position.
So are you saying the challenge is because that many people wait until they get that positional leadership before they start exhibiting or learning about leadership and on its own? Is that what you are saying?
That's perfectly said.
And then what is now the solution? When we analyze problems, I always like us to at least provide a solution. If you come down to Osun State now, a number of young persons are in position of leadership at both the executive and the legislature. And then also if you go down to the local government level, you see one person holding one leadership position or the other. So, and then many times people are now saying, okay, we don't get it right because these are the people that will think will change things. But when they get there, they try to even sometimes worse than the people that we complain about. I don't want to say it, but the youngest governor we've ever had in Nigeria came from Kogi State, and you and I know the record of that same person. So what is the solution moving forward? What do you think those people in position of leadership now should be doing to ensure that we have this better leadership in the country as we move on?
Okay, thank you so much. So let me quickly touch on the first question you asked, and I will now answer this question. Now, people don't have to wait to get to a position before they start learning the ropes of leadership, because it's something that you grow into, it's something that you develop into. So now when I tell people that I've been into leadership for the past 15 years, people say, okay, have I been in a leadership role? I say, no, not necessarily. Although one way or the other, I've served in one capacity leadership position on the other. And those positions have developed me. And for the question that you just asked now about leadership, what is the solution? Now, the solution basically is we don't have to wait till people get to position before they start learning leadership values and skills. Now, let me tell you, for example, of the project we are doing in Osun State. iLead. iLead is a Maxwell leadership program where secondary school students are learning leadership values and skills every week, 45 minutes every week. And through the support of the Ministry of Education, the commissioner himself saw how valuable this program is, and he gave us the approval to run this program. And over the past 1 year, we've been able to pilot this program in Osogbo because our goal is Osun State, and we've seen the workability. And now I have tons of stories how that young people, especially teenagers in their teen years, 13, 14, 15, are making positive changes with themselves and among their friends, and not just among themselves, it's not translating to, even to their homes. So John Maxwell says that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less, as I says it. So now, if you are not influencing anybody, you are not a leader. You are just taking a walk. So the solution to leadership is starting at the grassroots, start catching them young, where young people are learning values, learning skills on how to lead themselves, lead their colleagues, lead their school, lead their community, and come up with solutions, with mind-blowing solutions. These young people have ideas. They have so much initiative that they can come up with to solve problems. So the solution is bridging the gap, going now to this early stage to mentor these ones on leadership values and skills.
So now, let's now talk about the program that you are doing in Osun State now, the program that is already ongoing. This program, tell us how you have been, are able to impact lives of young persons across different communities and different schools in the state. Tell us about this program. What is the vision? What exactly do you aim at achieving before you went into this program?
Okay. The aim that we intend to achieve is to have a community of young people. We actually call it nurturing the next generation leaders. Yes, because there's no one born a leader, but everybody was born actually. So everyone has the ability to learn leadership. Yes, it's not leadership, not just for some specific people, maybe people born in the royal family or people that are very passionate in life. Leadership is for everybody. That is the mindset that most people don't have. They think that it's just some people especially called to leadership. So the major solution we are bringing on board is helping young people to learn leadership values and skills. Because when they master these values and skills, they can become better people in our community. I don't know if I have.
Yes, I do. Yes. Now tell us what you have been able to do since this program started. What are those things that you have done?
Okay. So for the past 1 year, we started the program initially in September 2024, where we had a training for all the principals in Osogbo and 2 teachers from each school. We have 14 secondary schools currently, government secondary school. We piloted it with 14 government secondary school in Osogbo. And in the past 1 year where we've piloted this program, we've been having weekly sessions, 45 minutes in each of these schools. I don't have to boast with the name of the schools in Osogbo. So now, over this 1 year, we've had the program. There's a textbook we use. The textbook is free of charge. I didn't come to the studio with the textbook.
So you give it to them.
Yes,
everybody has one.
Not one for now.
Okay.
It's a group. They actually sit in group of 5.
Okay.
Group of So we give them 2, 3 per group, and they do reading in tongues. And the ideology and methodology of this program is that we are not going there to teach them. We are not going to start another class or another lecture. What we're doing is that
Another boring class.
thank you. Because they say, on today they have come again to tell us what to not to do, No, this is a peer-to-peer learning session where these students are learning values and influencing their colleagues. We have stories where somebody say, somebody started doing this, it too start, we join them to do it. Right? So now it's a peer-to-peer learning where we give them the book, and now this textbook is designed in such a way that it's engaging, where they have conversation among themselves in their group. So when, for example, now let me use Ataoja School of Science, for example. We have over 450 students in this school where we've onboarded in Ataoja School of Science. So with the help of their principal, she gave us a school hall where we use for this session. So they sit 5 in groups, sometimes 5, 6 in groups. So we give them that textbook 3. And we have pictures that we can also show to this.
Okay.
So they sit 5 in group and they sit down and discuss based on that topic for that week. So there's nobody standing in the front telling them, today we're talking about this and now explain what they are to do. No, it's a peer-to-peer. So the textbook has been designed by John Maxwell in such a way that the students are engaged. So there's what we call legend. They are legend like caution or like the road safety or the road traffic rules that you say, when you see this color, you stop. When you see red, you stop. When you see green, you move. When you see this color, you do this, right? So the same thing in that textbook, there are legends that when you see this picture, this is what you should do at this moment in the textbook. When you see the next picture, this is what you should do. Now, let me give you an example. The first picture is a boy holding a book. Now, under it, it means the first person should read. The next picture is a girl holding a book. The next person in that group should read. After that, there's another picture of pencil. It means underline what is important to you. The next is share what is important to you, what you have learned. And last is take action. So in that group, the first person, which is the group lead for that week, because every week they will have group lead. Now, this program is designed in such a way that they are developing leadership, learning leadership, and practicing the leadership while they are learning leadership, and also public speaking, conversation, sharing ideas. Some people are very timid. They have never had the opportunity to talk, to share their own opinion. The program is giving them that opportunity. So using that legend, first person read aloud, next person read aloud, underline what is important to you, share what is important to you, and take action. Every week they sit down and discuss a topic. For example, the first topic on choices talks about that you didn't choose your country, you didn't choose your parents, you cannot choose your siblings, you cannot choose your color, but you can choose your future. This leads me to the story of a boy in Laro Grammar School. I think his name is Adewale or so. Adewale said before the iLead program, he thought that he will never have a good future because he's going to public school. And I say, how? How is that possible? I also went to a public school. But this is a mindset that this boy have had over the years. And the program is not just a jamboree thing that we're just coming to do it's a continuous program. So it's there to shaping their mindset, shaping the way they think and the way they act. Maybe when you give me more time, I will talk about the 3 phases of the program and how we are breaking the program into 2 years.
I mean, that is the next thing. But before I go to that, I would like to ask that, okay, let me say this, that the producer will add some of those pictures to this interview so that people can also see what you have been able to do. But before you go to, you tell us the breakdown, how the event, how the program looks like. I would like to ask, like, how many students do you think you have been able to impact in the last 1 year, right? Yes. That you have started this program? How many students have enrolled for this and they are learning as I went you?
Okay. For the pilot phase, we were able to enroll 2,935 students.
Wow.
Yes, in all government secondary school in Osogbo. We have their statistics, we have their names, we have their numbers per school. That's why I say, like I told you, I have 450 students. In Osogbo Grammar School, we have 354 students, and other schools like that in Osogbo local government. Yeah.
So now, tell us the phases of the program. I think you said it is 2 years, right?
Yes.
So tell us the phases, how it goes, how you run them.
Okay, thank you very much. So the program ideally was supposed to be a 3 years program.
Okay.
SS1, SS2, SS3, the way it was being designed by the Maxwell Leadership Foundation. But we, because of the peculiarity of Nigeria, yeah, we discovered that we don't want to overburden these secondary school students, especially when they're in SS3. That time, the time where they focus on their WAEC, NECO, and JAM. So everything they need to learn, let them learn it in SS1 and SS2. So the program is divided into 3. I choose is where you connect values and choices. I choose. The second is I do where we connect actions, values, and action. And the third one is iLead, where you connect values and them now taking initiative, a community project, a school project, a community project, something that would impact their community. So because it's a 2 years program, because we now broke it into 2 years program, we now made it in SS1, they'll do I choose and half of I do. You remember I said the first is I choose, I do, and I lead. SS1, 2, 3. But now we don't want to involve the SS3 so they can focus on their WAEC, NECO, and JAM. So we now made 2 years. So the for SS1, they will do I choose and half of I do. And in SS2, the remaining half of I do and the full I lead.
So now, when you have been speaking, I would like us to look at it. You have been talking about public schools,
Yes.
like you have about 2,000,
14 public schools.
40 public schools, 2,000 plus students. Now, I would like to ask, is there a room for partnership with private school owners? Maybe if they have one or two things that they want their children to also, their students rather, something like this should not also be for public school alone. Maybe private schools. Are you also looking into that? Are you open to partnership?
Okay, actually, the program is for all secondary schools,
Mm.
but we chose to pilot it with the difficult of the difficult public schools to see how it can run in the state.
Mm.
So the program is both for public and private school, and we are open to partnership to also run the program in private schools.
Okay, I think this is the book, right?
Yes.
I choose and I do.
Yes.
Okay, this is for the first
For the
one.
first phase.
Okay,
yes,
so
SS1.
the second one we have I do and I lead. Okay, so I want to ask this. We have a lot of moral decadence in this country.
Yeah.
I also attended a public school, right? I mean secondary school. I attended a public secondary school, and during our own time there was discipline. During our time, if you are going to school and you see our principal's vehicle on the road, whether it is parked or it is on the way, you know that you are in trouble. So that vehicle must not get to school before you.
Yeah.
So whatever shortcuts you can get, you look for it and you get to school.
Yeah.
And that is part of the discipline.
Yeah.
I've seen a situation where our principal will park at a place and be, beating every student, not only student of his own school,
Wow.
every single student that comes late, that is on the street at that time, that is going to school at that time, is late already because it is already after 8 a.m. And he beats everyone. Our principal is here, that's Alhaji no Jim and Badmos, not Jim Badmos. So that was discipline that time. You dare not go to school without, tucking your shirt, putting on your, all this. But years later, especially in the early part of the second decade of this century, the 21st century, 2010, 2013, 14, 15, you see that we have courtism now in schools, secondary schools. And you see a situation whereby students of secondary school are now throwing up parties here and there. So I want to ask, is there a way you are trying to ensure that all these, what I can call them vices, but some people will say they are social things. These are, to me, moral decadence that have crept into the education system. How do you think this kind of program will help us correct this?
Okay. Thank you very much. So, just like as I was sharing before of the students from Laro Grammar School, and he said before the iLead program came to their school, he was already being trained to be a Yahoo boy. He was already being trained. They've given him a phone, they've given him a laptop, they've started training him. Complete. Thank you. Yes. And he said he thought he will not have a future because he's going to be public school. So that's why he started doing those things. But when we started with the program iLead, because when you go through the test, we see the topics, the first topics on choices, how to make right choices, responsibility, initiative, and resistance, and all those things like that. So the boy said that he got to a point where he decided that he is now responsible for his own future, that not his environment. Because from the textbook, in group reading, it's discovered that you cannot change the past. Like as I was saying, you cannot choose your color, you cannot choose your country, where your nationality and that things like that. You cannot choose your race, but you can choose your future. So this boy, although there was some back and forth fight, and he had to break off from that group that was training him to be a Yahoo boy, and now from this value, he confidently says, like he was crying that, like he said, he confidently said that I now know that I can have a good future by practicing right values. Because in the textbook, John Maxwell uses not just explanation, he uses stories, illustration, and action points that will help them to think and take action. So all this decadence is just a matter of time. They would begin to evacuate. Now, the program is designed in such a way that it will tax their mind to think, to engage, and take action. I want to share another story, but I don't know if I can just go ahead and share. Now, example of Olawale in Araromi Grammar School in Osogbo here.
Okay.
After one of the session, this topic was on personal growth. After one of the session, everybody, because they do it in their school hall, after the session, they now go back to their classes for the next period. Olawale was just sitting down, and it was just like, when somebody is thinking, lost in thought. And I met him, I asked him, how are you? Are you fine? He said, he's fine. Are your parents okay? He said, they are okay. Have you eaten? He said, he has eaten. So I now asked him, what is the problem? And I said, from the topic today, he was so touched by what they learned. And he discovered that exam is in 2 weeks and he has not been reading. And from what we share, because we also share personal stories, I told you that the right way to prepare for exam is not a day or two, because that is like just an African mindset or Nigerian thing that you cram labo. But I told you that the right way to prepare for exam is from the first day of resumption. The way you go to class, the way you take your note, the way you do your assignments, the way you revise your note, this is how you prepare for exam. Because schooling is not just cramming and pouring things. You have to imbibe what you are learning and use to solve problems. So I gave him like an advice. I told him, this is how you can do it. In these 2 weeks, you can prepare for your exam. And when we went back second term, because that was first term, when we went back to that school second term, he was the best student in his class.
Wow.
That's
a very good one. That's a very good one.
He has learned.
So thank you so much. I want to believe that this is the textbook, and I believe that we will still have to follow this because it shouldn't be one-off thing. Because that's the Yoruba I say bere deko.
Yes.
So that means if we are able to train these sets, and we leave a number of sets untrained, it means those ones that we have not trained will actually corrupt the trained ones. I want to say thank you so much for being part of this. We believe that as we move on, we'll get it right, especially in leadership. Because somebody said, this morning I came across a video that says Nigerians in every sector, apart from leadership, we are getting it right. If you get to America, if you get to Germany, if you get to US, wherever they have a party, you realize that it is Nigerian music that they play.
Wow.
If you get to cinema, you see how they stream Nigerian movies for a lot of great that we are producing in sport and all of that. But in leadership, we have not gotten it right. And I believe that we are going to get it right as we move on. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel Ibikitan. And as I said, we will continue to be partners on this. We'll continue to monitor what is happening and how this program is going, because we want to see a better generation than ours and those before us. Thank you so much for being part of today's show. My name is Jare Tiamiyu. Bye for now.